Okay, here we are visiting Great Wall Motors Rama 5 here in Bangkok, Thailand, and we're looking at the Haval H6, and this is a hybrid electric vehicle. So we have, of course, a gasoline engine, no range anxiety here. And this is a good size SUV. I would say that it compares very nicely with the Volvo's offering, or even the BMW X5. Certainly has a good ground clearance, and one thing that's important here in Thailand is that oftentimes with the flooding conditions prevalent during the monsoon season, you need a vehicle that can effectively ford water several feet deep. And here, this one should be able to safely handle right up to the top of the wheel well. Okay, now here we see our turbocharged inline four-cylinder engine, and here we have our hybrid style transaxle reservoirs. The air conditioning is running right now, and the vehicle is warm. The engine is not running. So I suspect we have this coolant reservoir is for the internal combustion engine. This coolant reservoir is for the electronics. So this would be for the inverter, for the electric motors. And of course I am running the air conditioner compressor right now, and as you can see, the electric pump is running, and you can see it's ferociously moving that coolant there through the system, and I see it there within the reservoir. And of course, obviously, here's our windshield washer fluid. Here we see the high and low side of our air conditioning, and that low side line is good and cold. So our AC compressor is running right now. It's an electric AC compressor, and here I have my low side fitting and my high side fitting. We're still using our 134A on this vehicle, and it's telling us, hey, I need about 650 plus or minus 10 grams of refrigerant. All right, let's take a look at what we have over here. I suspect right here this is going to be the engine controller here in the engine compartment. And here we see our air cleaner assembly. And here I see the electronics of our inverter. Obviously the orange cables are the high voltage cables. Now this is a turbocharged four-cylinder, and one thing I'm very interested in Thailand is because of the conditions of flooding, I want my air intake to be as high as possible. So here it's just below the hood within the engine compartment, so it'll be difficult for water to be ingested. And if it is, oftentimes what I do is I have a drain here in the cavity of the air cleaner to kind of discourage it from making its way past the filter media and then on to the compressor of the turbocharger. So we certainly don't want that to happen. Obviously, if that does, I'll need to shut the vehicle down immediately to prevent damage. Here from the air cleaner, I'm going into the turbocharger's compressor section, and then we leave the compressor section of the turbocharger and head down to the heat exchanger there towards the lower front of the vehicle. And then leaving the heat exchanger, I come up and go to the throttle body. Here we have the throttle body and intake manifold there for our four-cylinder engine. Now, on this particular model, this is a speed density system, so I do not have an airflow meter. Instead, I have a manifold absolute pressure sensor. So a combination of engine speed and manifold air density is going to give me an indication of mass airflow rate and allow me to proportion the correct quantity of fuel, with of course my feedback being that exhaust gas oxygen sensor, or a pair of them. But I don't think I have do that here in Thailand. Here's my what I'd call my upstream exhaust gas oxygen sensor. But here in Thailand, oftentimes the emission requirements are not as extreme, so I don't necessarily have to have the three-way catalytic converter. All right, let's take a look. So this is a pretty nice layout. By the way, this is only a two-wheel drive SUV, only front-wheel drive. There in Great Wall Motors, they decided that, hey, front wheel is really all you need. That's going to be able to handle the snow, etc., etc. This really isn't considered to be an ultimate performance car. This is kind of a family utility vehicle, and front wheel drive is indeed enough. One nice feature of this vehicle is that the ignition key is on and the engine was running, and the engine will kind of stop and start. It has that start function there, runs as necessary. But if I open the hood, what happens is that this electric switch indicates that the hood is open and the engine does not start, which is a very nice safety feature. Also here, looking at the integral headlight, obviously there's quite a bit going on there with this integral headlight assembly, which includes the running lights, parking lights, headlight, low and high, and turn signal indicator. So this is easily removed and serviced. Very nice feature. Now, one thing that is hiding from us is the master cylinder is right behind this plastic cover, and remember that this is right-hand drive. The steering wheel is on the right side of the vehicle. Let's go ahead and do a quick walk around. Now, as a hybrid vehicle, I do have a gas cap. So here, at any time, I can go ahead and use, and of course they're recommending E20, 20% ethanol. That's very popular here in Thailand. Certainly very smart looking. Alloy wheels. As we come across here to the front, we see the driving lights on. Now remember, this does have a gasoline engine, so obviously I have a conventional grille with obviously a AC condenser and radiator. And here we can hear the fan running, and the engine's actually running. So here, as I peek through here, I see the radiator and the AC condenser, and the radiator hiding behind it. Now, one thing that's very popular on many of these late model vehicles is the 360 camera view, and of course I get that with my two side cameras on each side. I have a camera there in front of the vehicle and there one in the back, and we'll see that on the dash display in just a moment. Well, let's go ahead and hop in the vehicle and take a look at what the instrument panel looks like. Okay, so here we are. We're in the vehicle. We're taking a look at some of the functions here available to us. And this has become very popular, where I have a large liquid crystal display, or even organic light emitting diode display, but just simply a touchscreen display that I can go ahead and control the different functions of the vehicle. So let's just take a look. Vehicle driving modes, and this is only a front wheel drive vehicle, not all wheel, just front wheel only. And here we see the different driving modes: normal, economy, sport, and snow. The one pedal mode allows me to accelerate, decelerate with just the gas pedal. So what happens is there I'm going to use the regenerative braking function there to slow the vehicle down, and we have the recovery level, high, standard, and low. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at lighting options. All right, we have the auto welcome, power saving display, or power saving delay, I should say, roof light delay, leaving the vehicle. How long are the headlights going to remain on? Okay, unlock mode. All 4 doors are driver only. Speed lock. So as I drive away, do I want the doors to lock automatically? And that is a very, very nice feature. And ignition off and unlock. So if I turn off the ignition, do I want the vehicle to automatically unlock? Let's take a look at the outside rear view mirrors. All right, auto fold, and in Thailand that's a nice feature because when I park the vehicle, it's nice to have the headlights fold in because oftentimes the parking is very close as the vehicles are parked in a parking garage. Or I can just manually fold if I need to. And the front wiper function, we can go different wiper intervals, fast, normal, or slow. And I do have my wiper control here over on the right hand side of the steering column. So let's take a look, and this is our heads up display switch, and I guess I do have heads up display. I don't see it being on right now. Let me turn on. So heads up display. So we have that feature here on this vehicle, and display content of the heads-up display. I can have navigation, calls, intelligent driving, and the color, my blue light color, and frequently used. Let's get back to in-car. Wireless charging. This is a nice feature. Here I can put my cell phone in the wireless charger and be charging it while I drive, and oftentimes I can have the cell phone also plugged in to my USB connector. And we have intelligent pre-cooling. Now remember, the AC compressor is an electric motor driven. So the engine does not need to run, or doesn't run, for the AC compressor to run. So it runs. It's a high voltage motor that drives the AC compressor, so I have good strong air conditioning right now even though the engine's not running. And let's take a look. Frequently used. So here's my power assist. I'm going to go back to comfort. And we have weighed and I guess distance. Not real sure what that is. And I do have my common vehicle voice commands. So I can have voice commands to open and close the driver's window and the sunroof. Nice feature. Now here's my climate control setting. This is obviously the setting for the fan. So I can go ahead and control the speed of the fan. A little more, a little less. Here I can control the interior temperature. Let's come down a little. I notice it's in a ½ degree increment. So we'll come down to 23 degrees centigrade. Here's my mode. Here I have mixed floor and dash. Here we can go to just dash, just floor, or dash and defrost. And the auto mode, here I'm in AC, but in auto, based on the temperature setting, it's going to select heat or AC and the mode to give the desired result. And I also have a control separately for the passenger, which is a very nice feature. He wants to be a little colder. Alright, here's our cell phone. So we can have a cell phone connection through our Bluetooth and of course our device. And here's our device history, Realme X2 Pro, and that's going to be one of my cell phones. Obviously it's looking right now, it's not finding anything, but that's fine. Here we'll go back home. Here it's nice, it shows me the time and the outdoor temperature and the weather, which is a nice feature. And showing me that in my cell phone connection I got 4th generation, and I do have my cell phone controls here on the dash. or I should say on the steering wheel. One feature that seems to be real popular with the Great Wall motors is the 360 view camera. So what happens, I actually have 4 cameras. I have one camera that's looking to the rear, one to the front, and then one on the left and one on the right, incorporated within the mirrors. And there, as I put the transmission in drive, what's happening is we're looking at the forward-facing camera. There, as I put the transmission in reverse, we're looking at the rear-facing camera. Very nice feature. Okay, and I'm going to go back to park. Now, here on the steering column, my cruise control function is actually this lever. And remember that I have the intelligent cruise control. So it will automatically apply the brakes if I start to approach a vehicle in front of me. So I can there adjust the distance. So if I want to be very sensitive and not get close to the vehicle, or get very close to the vehicle, I can. And here I can then increase or reduce the selected cruise control speed, or I can cancel at any time or resume. And obviously I have to be moving at a minimum speed and be in gear for the cruise control to function. Alright, a couple of nice little features here on the Great Wall motor vehicles. It has kind of a clever cup holder design. There, it will accept either a small or a large cup. Have a nice, I should say, watertight compartment there in case of spilling. I have an extremely large center console well, which is a very nice feature. Quite large, in fact. And then I have a clip to hold any type of paper or anything there in the top. And here we see our critical climate control buttons, so they can turn on and off, select the AC compressor or not. And then I have defrost for the front, electric defrost for the back. Here's my parking assist, so I can turn on my windows at any time. Very, very nice feature. All right. One thing is that any SUV should really have the fold-down rear seats, and certainly our Haval H6 does, and that's a very nice feature. With both seats folded down, I have a tremendous amount of cargo room, and also if I need to put something here in the back and I just want to hide it from view, I have this little kind of privacy mat that will conceal it. So that's a kind of a very nice feature, and obviously that can be quickly removed if I need this full area for the cargo space. Now, like many vehicles, what happens is I do not have a spare tire. So here we see our tow eye. Here's the tool to remove the plastic cover that exposes the tow port there on the front and the back. This is just simply an emergency reflector. Here I have my AC compressor, and this is my 12-volt battery. And remember, both electric and hybrid vehicles, they need that 12-volt battery, because what happens is I have accessories in the vehicle, the instrument panel, the climate control functions, etc., that operate off 12 volts. And so here we have that here. Okay, now the Haval H6 is certainly a roomy SUV, and there's plenty of room here for the rear passengers. 3 adults can be sit across, and I do have 3 seat belts very comfortably with plenty of leg room, and certainly have a large cargo area there in the back for luggage or any type of materials. One thing that's a nice feature is there's an extra set of seat controls on the passenger seat that allow the rear seat passenger to move the front passenger seat back and forth, or even tilt it back and forth there to make them more comfortable. So they have the ability to go back and forth and tilt the passenger seat. That's certainly plenty of room, even with the seat all the way back and tilted all the way back. Now this might be kind of an extreme right there. Certainly the passenger would be uncomfortable, but this is a nice feature. So here the rear seat passenger can control the position of the front passenger seat. Okay, today we had a chance to take a look at the Haval H6. This is a hybrid electric vehicle. It has a 4-cylinder turbocharged gasoline engine. It's transversely mounted with its hybrid powertrain. It is 2-wheel drive only, just front-wheel drive, not all-wheel drive. It has the electric AC compressor, so even though the engine is shut off, the air conditioner is working very nicely and very cold. Now this has automatic start-stop, so the engine's actually stopping and starting as necessary. Now obviously, as long as the hybrid battery is close to being fully charged, there's no reason to worry about running the engine. I'm not moving the vehicle. And of course, with many of the hybrid vehicles, I can actually put it in gear and move it without starting the engine. So here is trying to give us an indication there. We're about, I guess, a state of charge that about halfway. Now I really don't have to worry about mileage, because my mileage is based on the gasoline in the tank, and it's telling me at about a half a tank I got 402 kilometers of range. So we're ready to go. The engine's not running. Obviously, if I put my foot on the brake pedal, I can shift into reverse and lift up, and if I press the accelerator gently, the vehicle then moves backward, and then put it in drive, the vehicle moves forward, and I notice the vehicle's moving forward. The engine is not running. The engine is not running, strictly electric. Go back in reverse, the engine is not running. And so I'll go ahead and press the park button. We're back in park. Beautiful car, reasonably priced car. I'm sure this is going to be a popular vehicle not only in Southeast Asia, but also in the world.